Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm your host, Michelle Stern. So, Jamaica, we have good news. In fact, I should say that this is great news. I was scrolling the internet and found a news item from CNN. And I said, no, man, I have to bring it to your attention because, we've been licked with some high prices, food price, gas price, every kind of price gone up because of the crisis that is going on in the world with the oil. So this morning, I got on my phone looking for what me can't remember what. When you get old, you can't remember things. So me not remember what me I look for and buck up this headline. More than 1 billion barrels of oil have gone missing. Me say what? 1 billion barrel of oil. Now remember, them the big super tanker, can carry 2 million barrels of oil, right? And when you divide the 1 billion barrel by the 2 million, you get 500. So you talk about 500 of them super tankers, oil, gone missing. So of course, it catch me. Me notice, me say, but is which part this could have happened? Me say, I wonder if Donald Trump, him the threaten say that in the tech where Iran oil and Iran no know, remember? Yes, so me say, I wonder if him, them are right about. So me say, let me go in there go read what this news I say. So when I look closer to this news report, it says June 19, 2026. But I say, but this is not still news. But it still piqued my interest. Because news is news and it really no matter when you get it. So me going to show you a little bit of what them say on June 19. And then we're going to show you what the oil price is today. And it is of interest to us. So 7 days ago, CNN reported good news. The Strait of Hormuz is open again after Iran and the United States signed a memorandum of understanding this week. Bad news? It may be too late. Oil hasn't been coming out of the Middle East for nearly 4 months. All told, the world lost 1.15 billion barrels of oil supply during the war, according to according to analytics firm Kipler. Now, when you talk about headline news, them need us to get the news. And then they put up this sensational headline giving the impression says my thief this oil. And all them talking about the oil is lost. The supply is lost. That means to say the oil still in the ground. What a set of people wicked, man. Eh? No, I should have really vexed and nobody read no more, But I'm going to forgive them this time and continue reading to see if them have any more information to give us. Talking about the loss of the 1.15 billion barrels of oil, they said that has left the oil market in a precarious state and it's rapidly approaching a breaking point. The International Energy Administration's strategic petroleum reserves are at their lowest levels since 1990. The American Emergency Reserve is at a 43-year low, and commercial inventories have hit operational stress levels. Now, these reserves they have in case of war, in case of any kind of tension, like what happened with the U.S. Iran war. And these reserves, they say, is at a critical low. So, you know what that means? It means that these countries will be looking to stock up again. So, they'll be buying for ordinary use and they'll be buying to stock up. But of course, they'll be doing it over a period of time. So, how these countries manage that particular crisis is what will determine whether the price of oil stay relatively high or falls or stabilize. Now, they're quoting President Trump as saying, "You want to see bedlam?" In the American accent, of course. I can't talk like him, You want to see bedlam? President Donald Trump said at the G7 in Versailles Wednesday. We run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. That are the United States, No wonder the brute decided to stop the war when him decided to stop it. Eh? They had only 4 weeks left of reserve. And why were they dipping into their reserve? The oil supply coming out of the Middle East had dropped because of the war. So, in order to ensure that they have sufficient supply in the United States and dip into them reserve, and even then, the price at the pumps were still high. So, had they continued the standoff with Iran, with the Hormuz, said them a blockade, the blockade, right? 4 weeks later, they would have been out of reserves and in a crisis because now they would have to start to ration the oil or increase the price so high that people will buy, less. So if they usually buy like a tank, a full tank, they have to cut it down, maybe a quarter tank, and don't travel as much. That would be a disaster for the United States economy, which would then be a disaster for every other economy that depend on them, including our own. And it is food that will be the key, and the food prices itself would have gone sky high, not to mention traveling. Oh my goodness, we don't want to think about it. So it was the reality of the situation that the United States found itself in that made this sudden about turn of Donald Trump, right? So he went and him signed the agreement with Iran. Anything Iran want them get. It seems as if Iran discovered the spot that they were in with them reserves, right? And so they were in no position really to be bargaining tough with Iran as they were trying to do. 4 weeks was what was left of reserves. Run out of reserves, you don't have enough oil to supply the people and will use car. Not to mention the industries. Big problem. Huh? You realize what was going on? This was a serious crisis that was created, and Trump make it go all the way down to the wire, right? If Iran had held out a little longer, like when them down to 3 weeks, trust me, they would all get them probably send some nuclear weapon go get them just to make them sign. My word, Trump is right. But reopening the strait this week may not get oil out of the Persian Gulf fast enough to prevent crude inventories from effectively running to empty. Oil prices may have to go higher again. And this, remember, was what? 7 days ago, this was reported on June 19. What, though, is the current situation? So, this is the June 26, 2026 report, and it was published 6:30 a.m. And it says crude prices sink as traders bet on more Iranian oil. A far cry from the doom and gloom that they were predicting 8 or 7 days ago on June 19. West Texas Intermediate crude is trading around $69.50 per barrel, while Brent crude sits near $72.50 per barrel. Oil prices have dropped significantly, down over 3% today. 1 day drop, 3%, heading for a weekly loss as tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has rebounded and Middle Eastern exports have normalized. So the question you're now asking is, where was it before the war started? You want me to remind you? It says the day before the US Israeli strikes on Iran launched on February 28, 2026, global benchmark Brent crude closed at $72.48 a barrel, while US benchmark WTI crude traded just below $70 a barrel. Throughout the late 2025 and early 2026, the oil market had been experiencing a steady downward trend, with Brent trading in the low 60s to low 70s due to a low projected global supply surplus. And Mr. Trump and Mr. Netanyahu sort that out and made the price go all the way up to $126 a barrel. Speculative price. But whether speculation or not, had the war went on for another 4 weeks, the United States would have run out of reserves. And then you would have seen a crisis with prices. And it would affect everybody who trade with the United States. And the United States is one of our biggest trading partners. So I don't have to tell you how much of a bad shape we could be in. And it's all because we have a dependent economy. And that is a topic for another day. But the oil price being back to where it was before the war is great, great news. We don't see it yet at the pumps, but as we buy more oil at the cheaper price, we will see the price them at the pump and take time come back down. We the people though, we have to be very, very vigilant. And this is what we must take on as a job, right? We need to watch these people and we need to insist that the prices must come down as soon as petrojam price them start to drop. And if them don't, then we must make different decisions about how we spend our money. All of us will have to do that, right? We need to make sure who need to go bankrupt, because enough of them have loans out there, either them have loan for a house or them have loan for them business. So all we have to do is avoid them one that we see now corporate, and the one that we see a corporate flop them and make it be known, call people, tell people, yes man, this is one your price gone down and everybody need to rush. And we must cooperate as a people. We don't want to show off people out there, because they have their money and just walk in and just buy and them nobody look on price, right? We have to make sure that the prices come down. And because of the lack of competition, there's not sufficient competition in the market. And I'm talking about the economy. These people can get away with it, making profit and impoverishing the people. And if we want to ensure that the people who getting them $17,000 a week can make the most of that money, we have to get together as a people and be vigilant against these people who are now, making extra profit upon an excuse. We want the light bill going to have to go come down because of the mechanism them use to calculate the rate. The water going to come down, right? All of them were in the transportation business. We talk about say the price gone up. Those who supply you with water, I talk about price gone up and them have to increase it. Make them know the price gone down. So gentle people, we're going to have to be vigilant. We have to work together for our own good and for the good of the economy and all them poor people that have to be, that work in that $17,000 a week. It is time we put on with foot. Put down with foot and get serious with these people who are exploiting us. And I think the best way to go about it is for us to promote those businesses, whether them big or them small, that is supporting us. And we're talking about those business people that work very hard to source the goods and bring them to us at a lower price. At them the people I think should be supported, and at them the people we want to know about. So if you have anybody in your area where you live or where you work that you think is deserving of our support and our money, tell me about them. Because at the end of the day, it is all about you and your family. And the more your money can stretch, the more it can buy, is the better off you and your family will be, and so too those business people. And as so now, we will force the other craven one them to either follow suit and keep them prices down or go out of business. I saw it work, man. Yes, we have to force them to compete. Yes. Now, what I'm going to do, when you mention the names, in the next video, I'm going to call up them name and beg everybody in the area to go and support those people. And that will be Jamaica 411's contribution to this national effort. So the good news is we're very hopeful that all the prices that went up will soon start to fall. Folks, I'm leaving it here now. I'm going to beg you all to give the video a thumbs up and look out for my next video. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.